this is Carla and welcome back to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another holiday video. So today we celebrate Father's Day, and so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Heavenly Father's Day to my dad, and also a happy Father's Day to our Heavenly Father as well. So for today, I will be making 3 cards that are all Father's Day themed. So for my first card, let me go ahead and bring out all of the pieces for my first card. So I have a piece of Night of Navy. This measures 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of basic white that measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of Blackberry Bliss that measures 4.5 by 3 1/4. I have a piece of the new Horizons DSP. So this is a 6 by 6 pack of paper that it's all watercolor themed on the back, and then on the front there are images that kind of build almost like a scene. So we actually have this, I think, was the first pack of paper that we had that was kind of like that watercolor scenery type paper. And since then, we've had we currently have 2 more packs of paper that are very similar to that. So I have a pattern of that paper. This measures 4 1/4 by 3. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to fold and burnish my card base. Bring that in, and I will set that aside. And then I will take this piece here. I'm going to emboss that, and I'll be using the Dashing Designs 3D embossing folder. This is a new embossing folder currently in our annual catalog. So I will set that aside because I will be doing my embossing in a moment. So on this piece of DSP, I am also going to be using, the Celebrating You Cling stamp set. So this kind of covers like a bunch of holidays. So you have like Father's Day, new baby, a Mother's Day, Easter, thank you, wishing you a happily ever after, so something for a wedding. So lots of different greetings that are in this stamp set, and this is currently this is a retired set. So let me bring in one of my blocks, and since I was lazy and I didn't put the cling sticker on the back, I am going to put it on my block, basically lining up the very bottom of my greeting so that it is straight with the bottom edge of my block. And when I go to stamp it, that's what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at that bottom edge of my block, and I think I got to move it down just a tiny bit, and I should have mounted the stamp before I started. So I need that, and actually there's another stamp that I need as well. It's the Let's Set Sail photopolymer stamp set, and I'm going to use this little grouping of these birds right here. And we'll put that aside, and let me get a block, and let me make sure that I want my birds to be going the right way. Okay, so then the ink colors that I am going to use for this card is Night of Navy and Blackberry Bliss. So we're kind of sticking with the same color theme. So on my paper, it does look like it's a mountain type scene, and you have what looks like your sunset type of sky. So with the Night of Navy, I am going to ink up these birds, and I am going to stamp them right here up in the sky. Okay, so that's all we're going to do with that color. And then with my Blackberry Bliss, I'm going to ink up my greeting. And again, I'm going to look at the bottom edge of my block and make sure my paper's straight. And I am going to stamp that right down here. Okay, like so. Alright, so we're done with that. And let me just quickly go and clean my stamps up. This is just a very, very simple card. No embellishments and not a lot of frou-frou all over it. So it is a Father's Day card. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of it. And I'm going to adhere that to my Blackberry Bliss layer. I'm going to center that like so. And I'll set that as actually some things that I can go ahead and do ahead of time. So let me put some dimensionals on the front of this like so. And I'll set that aside. And then let me bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to emboss this piece and I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces and let's assemble this card. So the rest of it is very, very easy. Just add some adhesive to my embossed basic white piece. Really, I really like the pattern that is from this embossing folder. Again, this is new in our new annual catalog. So I'm going to adhere this down and center it on my Night and Navy card base. And then I'm going to remove the paper backings from this panel here. And I'm going to center that right here on my card. And there we go. There is our first card. Again, the paper on this really is doing all the work for this card. So on to our second one. Okay, so for my second card, I have a piece of Mossy Meadow that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Crumb cake that measures 5 1/4 by 4, and then I have a few pieces here of scraps of our new color in our annual catalog, Basic Beige. So I'm going to start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And I will set that aside. For my Crumb cake piece, I'm going to be using something that is coming soon. This is the Birchwood 3D embossing folder. You can see this is one of our new large embossing folders. And this is going to actually be in our new holiday mini catalog. I was able to pre-order not only this embossing folder, but there's an actual suite collection. There's a stamp and die bundle. There's a pack of 12 by 12 paper. And then there's also some twine and some like sparkle gems. That's all part of the suite. And this is going to be in our holiday mini catalog that comes up soon. So we're doing an event. It's a demonstrator only event. It's called Creativity Now, and that's how I was able to order these products early. So I'm going to take my Crumb cake piece and I'm going to emboss that with this embossing folder. So I'm going to set this aside because we're going to be doing some embossing and die cutting as well. So on these 3 pieces here, I'm going to be using this die right here, and this die comes from the Nested Essentials set of dies. These did carry over, so these are in our current annual catalog. And then for this piece here, I am going to be stamping this tree 2 times, and then there's a coordinating die to cut it out, and that comes from the In the Grove bundle. This is currently in our annual catalog. Now, I do want to do just a little plug right here. This is a current bundle, like I said, in our current annual catalog. And right now, from today is Father's Day, June 16th, going until June 30th, Stampin' Up! Does have a sale going on. So when you purchase the bundles, the stamp, and this is just applying to the stamps and the coordinating dies. It's not the stamps and the punch bundles. But the stamp and die bundle, they are bundled priced at a discount of 10%. During this sale, you will get an extra 10% off. So this is any bundle that is got the 10% bundled pricing on it. That's in the annual catalog and also what's in our online exclusives. So if you go to the Stampin' Up! Website and go to the online store and you select Stamp Die Bundles, you will see all of the bundles that are part of this sale. So in addition, so like I said, with you normally get 10%, this is an extra, so you'll actually be getting 20% off on those bundles. And also the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, you saw me use the larger one just a moment ago, and I'll be using it again. That machine too is 10% off. And then we have 2 mini die cut machines, one in boho blue. It was a special joining option during celebration. It's in our boho blue color. And then we also have it in the white color as well. So this sale, like I said, is going on until June 30th. Okay, I just wanted to make mention of that since, time seems to be flying. I wanted to let you know about it. So the stamp, the double tree stamp I'm using from In the Grove stamp set, and then I'm going to use the coordinating die to cut that out as well. So for this one, I am going to bring in my Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm going to stamp this tree image 2 times. So I'm going to ink this up really well. And then I'm going to stamp one here. And then I'm going to stamp it again. Right here. Okay. And then I'm going to set that aside. That will be die cut. And then after I die cut my pieces, actually, no, I can do this right now. So on this piece, to close this ink up, I'm going to bring in my Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to use the Happy Father's Day greeting. This comes from the Beside Me stamp set. This stamp set did carry over. It is currently in our annual catalog, so it's this greeting right here. And actually, I will be using the stamp set again in our last card as well. So I'm going to ink this up in Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp that kind of like down near the bottom here. Now, I'm not worried about if it's a little bit crooked or anything because I will be die cutting this. Okay, so let me close up my ink pad, and we'll move those out of the way. So I will set that aside. So right now I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces. So I am going to start off with my piece of crumb cake that I had embossed, and I'm going to bring in my crumb cake colored twine, and this comes from the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. This is currently in our annual catalog, and I'm going to take, actually, nope, there's one other thing I got to do first. So the piece that I stamped the Happy Father's Day on, I'm going to add some adhesive to this, and I'm going to center this on my piece of crumb cake, and I want it down towards the bottom. So I'm going to center the best that I can, and I'm going to place that down, and then I'm going to bring in my twine, and I'm going to tie a knot. So let me bring in my scissors so I don't have such a big piece here. Maybe a little bit shorter. Okay, I'll cut that. Okay, let me put that aside. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie a knot, and I'm going to bring in my reverse tweezers. This comes from the Embossing Editions toolkit that is in our current annual catalog. So I'm going to kind of pull this taut, and I'll bring in my tweezers. It's going to kind of be my third hand just to hold that. So then I can take this and then tie it in a knot. Since we're looking for a masculine type card, we're not going to tie a bow. We're going to just tie a knot. And so I'm going to remove that and just pull that tight. And then I want to line this up kind of like the middle of my cardstock, like so. And then what I want to do with this, with these tails on this here, I want to add another knot. So I'm going to take this and just tie. I'm going to try to tie it. I did something similar like this. If you had watched my Friday night kinda live video, I just did this one this past Friday. I featured the Take to the Sky, and there's a gnat in here, and it wants to get in the video. And I gotta find him, and he's gotta die, because I don't know about you, but I don't like bugs, and I don't like gnats, especially when they like to fly in your face. So let me see if I can get another one tied here. But what I was saying, on my Friday night kind of live that I just did, I'm not going to be able, because that one side is a little bit shorter. So I have one knot there. So I'm just going to trim my twine. just a little bit past that knot like so. So just something a little bit different. I did a card where I took my twine or my linen thread actually, and, well, maybe it was the twine, I don't remember. But I did have a longer strand where I did do a few knots. So those cards that I did with the Take to the Sky, that features kind of the blah, 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 sorry. It features a vintage plains, and I created 3 cards using that whole suite of product. And then actually yesterday on Saturday, I had my in-person class in which I featured that suite as well. So I created a lot of projects using it, and I really had fun making those projects. All had a masculine feel to them. So really cool card. So if you haven't already, I do have that you can watch that live on the replay on here on my YouTube channel. The class that was in person, so I didn't do a video on that one. Okay, so I have that down. Then I'm going to take these pieces here and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of these. Okay. And then I'm going to take the backings off. I've got 2 more here. Okay, and then I'm going to take these and I'm going to place them kind of up a bit higher. So one will go over on this side here. And then I'm going to bring this down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to place this one over here. And I want to try and get these kind of straight and lined up with each other. Like so. That looks good. Okay, and then on these trees, I'm going to add some dimensionals onto the back of these. Okay, and then I'm going to take these and I'm going to add them to the center of these 2 panels. Make sure they're lined up straight. Okay, so we have our little bit of our twine embellishment. Now I'm not done. So I'm going to add a little bit of bling to this, and I know it's a masculine card, but this kind of just adds a little extra to it. So these are the adhesive backed sparkle gems. I can talk, I really can. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, and the colors in here, you have a black, a gold, or what looks kind of like more copper, like more of a copper to me, and then you have a silver. So I'm going to take, there's actually 2 sizes, there's a larger and a smaller. So I'm going to take one of these larger ones and I'm going to place that right down here, and then I'm going to bring in 2 of the smaller ones and I'm going to add them on this center tag like so. Okay, so there is our second card. On to our third. Okay, so for my final card, I have a piece of basic white thick that measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of Pretty Peacock that measures 5 by 1 3/4 inches. I have a piece of wild wheat that measures 3 3/8 by 2 7/8. I have another piece of Pretty Peacock that measures 3 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then I have a piece of basic white that measures 3 1/8 by 2 5/8. So I'm going to start off and I am going to fold and burnish my card base. And then I'm going to set that aside. Then on these two pieces, I'm going to take the Pretty Peacock piece and I'm going to adhere this to my wild wheat. Wild wheat is one of those colors, it's almost like a greenish goldish color, and by itself people don't like the color. I think it's a kind of a cool color, but when you take it and you add it to like other jewel tone type colors like Pretty Peacock or Blackberry Bliss or Night and Navy, I just think it looks really, really good with those colors. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to set that aside. And then on this piece, I'm going to do my stamping. This panel here of this Pretty Peacock, I'm going to emboss that. And I'm going to be using one of the embossing folders that comes from the Fun Patterns embossing folders. These are for the mini cut and emboss machine, but you can certainly use these in the larger machine as well. And I'm going to get that bug yet. I don't like natty bugs, and somehow they find a way in here. So I apologize if you see me swatting at something, during the live. I don't mean to, but those things are really, really annoying. Okay, so what I was saying is that these embossing folders, even though they're made for the mini cut and emboss machine, you can certainly use them in the larger machine as well. So out of these patterns, I'm going to use this one that has the diamonds on it. So I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to be doing this embossing, plus I'm doing some coloring as well. So on this piece, I'm going to stamp my image, but what I want to do, since my grid paper and my backdrop here is all white, I'm going to put my silicone craft sheet right underneath my piece of cardstock so that way I can see where that piece is. And I'm going to use the image, and then there's also a greeting. This comes from the Beside Me stamp set. I did use the Happy Father's Day greeting in our last card. So for this card, I'm going to use this greeting here, and I'm also going to, this image here, along with the birds, which I didn't pull those out. So let me quickly pull those out. And then I'm going to use the greeting that says, "Thank you, Dad." So on here, I'm going to bring in my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I'm going to ink this up like so. And I'm going to stamp this right here on my cardstock. I do want to give this a moment to dry because I will be coloring this in using my Stampin' Blends. And I'll do my embossing and coloring at the same time. So that portion of the video, I will be speeding it up. Okay, so there's my image. And then let me get a block here for my birds. So I do want to make sure that I kind of got them going the right way. So let me ink this up. And then I'm going to stamp these right up here, like so. Okay, and then on my card base, let me set that aside. I'm going to stamp that dad, that thank you dad. So I just want to take these pieces and I just want to lay them in their spot where they're going to go. I'm not going to adhere them yet. I just want to have a good idea as to where I'm going to stamp this greeting. Okay, make sure that's closed. And again, I kind of line this up with the bottom edge of my block. And I'm going to stamp that down like so. Okay, so we're done with the stamping. Let me put that aside. And again, I'm going to emboss that piece. I'm going to set my card base aside now. So let me explain what I am going to do next. So again, I'm going to emboss this piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock with that embossing folder. And then for this image, I will be coloring it in using my Stampin' Blend. So I want this to kind of meld in with these particular colors. So I will be using the light 900, the deep 200, the medium deep 300. Then I have light balmy blue, light misty moonlight, light granny apple green, light wild wheat, and light pretty peacock. So with that, I will be right back. Okay, so let me bring in all of my pieces. And even though the video has been sped up, I apologize for the swatting because, yeah, that gnat just really, yeah, he's not the star of this show, so he needs to go. Not paying rent either. Needs to go. Ugh, annoying. Okay, so I'm going to take my embossed piece of Pretty Peacock. And I'm going to center it from the top and bottom, and I'm going to go over to the left side like so. And I'll put that down. Looks like I'm a little bit higher than I wanted to, but that's okay. On the back of, so I'm going to take this piece that I colored, and I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this. And I'm going to center that on this piece here. There's just a little border of color around it. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this piece. So this one's a fairly simple card. The layout is pretty simple. There's just a little bit of coloring on it. So it's a very easy, clean and simple card. At least in my opinion it is anyway. And then I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to add that right here. And then I'm going to bring in those adhesive back sparkle gems again. This time I'm going to use the black ones. So I'm going to take a larger one here and I'll place that right there. And then I have these smaller ones where I will add one up here and then another one on my colored panel. So again, it's a masculine card, but I just added just a little bit of bling, and it's not too feminine looking with that little bit of bling, but here is our third card. So let me bring in the other two that I did. So here's our first card. This one, the paper basically does all the talking, and all I did was just add a little bit of stamping to that DSP. And then our second one, we went with more of a woodsy type of feel using that new Birch 3D embossing folder that will be in our new holiday mini catalog that will come out in just a couple of months. Hard to believe that, yeah, we're in the, past the middle mark of June, so we're more than halfway through the year already. So this embossing folder again is going to be in the new holiday mini, but all the rest of this is currently available in our annual catalog. And again, the In the Grove bundle is part of that bundle sale that is currently going on until June 30th. And then here is our third card where it's a very clean and simple type of layout with just a little bit of coloring and just a very, very to me, it's a powerful statement. Just a simple thank you, Dad. So again, happy Father's Day to all those dads that are out there. I don't know how many of you will actually be watching the replay of this video, but if you do, happy Father's Day. And I want to also wish a happy Heavenly Father's Day to my dad, and also a happy Father's Day to our Heavenly Father. So happy Father's Day, everyone. Thank you. Well, not everyone. Women wouldn't be in, no, never mind. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Thank you for joining me. And if you like the projects that I made today, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. The likes, the sharing, the subscribing, the comments, it all helps me in not only building my YouTube channel, but it also helps me in growing my Stampin' Up! Business. And any little bit really does help, and I truly appreciate it. So thank you for joining me, everyone. Have a blessed one. Bye-bye.